It is officially over. The San Francisco Giants have been eliminated from playoff contention in 2025. That marks 4 years in a row that this team has missed the playoffs, and really, they have not made the playoffs outside of 2021 since 2016. It's been a bit of a drought of successful baseball in San Francisco, and we're going to go over what has led to this collapse in 2025. We're going to go over 2 positives that actually came out of the game that got the Giants eliminated. But before we do all of that, make sure you go down below and subscribe to SF Giants Digest. Hit the notification tab and make sure you stay notified for all future uploads. Let's get right into it. So starting off, the Giants finish at 77 and 81, or not finish, but they are currently at 77 and 81. You see there at the bottom of the graphic. They're going to need to go 4-0 across these next 4 games, the last 4 games of the season, to finish at barely 500. Last season, the Giants finished at 80 and 82. It looks like we're going to get a very similar record this year, and it's just consistent mediocre baseball from the San Francisco Giants across the last decade, but especially the last couple of seasons. You thought this offseason, after bringing in Willy Adames, after bringing in Justin Verlander, especially after trading for Rafael Devers, you thought things would finally turn around and the Giants could be perennial contenders in the National League. But things have not necessarily gone that way as of now, and the organization continues to struggle to play consistent winning baseball. Now, one of the biggest reasons for the Giants not finding success in 2025 was how they performed against the rest of the division, the National League West. Here you see the San Francisco Giants are 21 and 28 against the National League West this season, and this doesn't look as bad as it truly is. They played really well against the Colorado Rockies, which you would hope for, as the Rockies are one of the worst teams in the history of baseball, but they honestly got smacked around by the rest of the National League West. Not a single winning record against the Dodgers, the Padres, or the Diamondbacks. They let those teams just beat up on them for the entirety of the season. And with the Dodgers especially, it was really interesting because every series this year outside of this most recent one, they won the first game of the series. They had control of the series to begin, and they just couldn't close it out. They lose the last 2 games and just struggle against the perennial winners of this division, the Los Angeles Dodgers. Now, here is what Logan Webb had to say after the loss last night, according to Alex Pavlovich of NBC Sports Bay Area. He said, "This is the most frustrating of all times. Giants have missed the playoffs in his career. No offense to the teams we've had before, but this is the most talented team I've been on," he said. "I think there were a lot of expectations, and it sucks." I've been saying this a lot as of late. Every single time the Giants have the slightest bit of expectations placed on them, they absolutely crumble. Think about earlier this year, when nobody really expected them to win. People might have thought they were a fringe playoff team, but the beginning of the year, they were on fire, winning games in the most unreal ways they could, walk-offs, walk-off balks, walk-off walks, all of this stuff. And they were playing well. They had good momentum at the beginning of the season. And then when people finally realized, hey, this Giants team is legit, they trade for Rafael Devers, and they beat the Dodgers that day, which we're going to get into. Right here, the Giants won 6-2. Logan Webb was brilliant, and Casey Schmidt provided the run support with the grand slam. They're tied atop the National League West after 70 games. This is the first time since 2021 that the Giants have had at least a share of the division lead this late in the season. Now, you look there, that was on June 13th, and this is exactly when I was talking about. They trade for Rafael Devers the very next day, or 2 days after that, excuse me. But right when they win this game against the Dodgers after a big grand slam, they trade for Rafael Devers, who's a top 10 to 15 hitter in all of baseball. And the league wakes up. They say, okay, this Giants team is legit. They can pitch with Logan Webb, Robbie Ray at the top of the rotation. The bullpen was the best in baseball, definitely not in the second half. But adding Rafael Devers to that lineup with Willy Adames, who was heating up at the time, it looked like a legit playoff team. It looked like a legit World Series contender. However, after that tweet was posted, the rest of the season, the Giants played below average baseball in all facets. Here you see the Giants were the 21st ranked offense in baseball after that tweet was posted. They posted a 97 weighted runs created plus, which is below average. 100 is league average. And they had a slash line of 235, 310, 369. Just not great baseball, if we're being honest. The offense had been lacking all season outside of this stretch, between the end of August, early September, where they clawed their way back into the wild card race. But outside of that stretch, the offense was just extremely underwhelming for the majority of the season. Same thing with the pitching. After that tweet was posted where the Giants beat the Dodgers, pretty much right after they traded for Rafael Devers, the pitching fell off of an absolute cliff. You see here, they were the 24th ranked pitching staff in baseball since that tweet was posted, a 4.50 earned run average in that time. It's hard to win when you're posting an ERA in 4.5. See the top half of these teams, they're in the threes, the low fours, and the Giants are in the mid fours, which is in basically the bottom third of baseball. And it's hard to succeed when you're pitching at this level and then you're not hitting at a great level either. It's just not a good combination and not a way to win ball games. Now, I don't want to focus on solely the negatives. I know it's been a rough season, and we'll have the entire offseason to talk about the negatives with the San Francisco Giants. But there were two positives that came out last night. The first one, which we kind of all expected if we're being honest, Logan Webb did reach 200 innings once again. You can see here with that strikeout, Logan Webb has officially surpassed the 200 innings mark in 2025. It is his third straight season in a row reaching the number. Fun fact, he is the first pitcher to do so since Justin Verlander did it back in the mid-2010s. So now his current teammate was the last player to do so, and Logan Webb is the most recent player to do it. So that's a pretty fun point in this conversation. But we all know Logan Webb is going to do this year in and year out. Unfortunately, the ERA has taken a bit of a hit over the last few weeks, but he is still our ace. He's still that consistent guy in Major League Baseball who's going to throw, right around 200 innings at a low 3s ERA. And this season we saw him strike out 200, so his first 200 season, if you want to call it that. Major League Baseball is always making new clubs for Shohei, so why can't I make one for Logan Webb? His first 200 season. But a really impressive year for Logan Webb, and once again, he is just the consistent arm at the top of the Giants' rotation. Now, the other one, Elliot Ramos did hit his 20th home run last night. He joined Willy Adames, Matt Chapman, and Rafael Devers as the 4 Giants with 20 or more home runs this season. As Bonta Hill points out, Elliot Ramos becomes the first left fielder since Barry Bonds to hit at least 20 home runs. Now, I wasn't really even aware of this. Obviously, we all know about the 30 home run curse, which as of right now looks like it might continue. Willy Adames is struggling to get those last 2 with only 4 games to play. But as you see here, Elliot Ramos becomes the first left fielder with 20 home runs since Barry Bonds. That is just so sad. Barry Bonds retired in 2007, and we haven't had a left fielder hit 20 home runs. It's an impressive season, but it's not that crazy. I'm sure every team has had a left fielder hit 20 home runs since then. Just as I'm pretty sure every team has had a player hit 30 home runs in just the last 5 years. So no surprises here, but the Giants with another power drought on the season. But yeah, that's pretty much going to do it here. I mean, once again, the Giants struggled to play consistent baseball over 162 games. Outside of 2021, they have not made the playoffs since 2016, where just like this year's team, they had a collapse. They were the best team in baseball at the first half of 2016. They had a couple All-Stars, and then they fall off of a cliff, and they just play awful baseball in the second half. Luckily, that year, they happened to sneak into the playoffs, but not the case this year, as the Giants they can't do it. The end of this season, the end of August, early September, they clawed their way back into the playoff race. They actually held that third wild card spot for about 2 hours, and that's when the collapse happened. I mentioned every time this team has expectations, they crumble, and that was another case. As they grabbed that third wild card spot, a lot of people were saying, wow, the Giants can actually do this. The Mets are playing awful. But nope, that's when the Giants crumble. The pitching goes to crap. The hitters just forget to hit. I know the big three, Willy Adames, Matt Chapman, Rafael Devers, all struggled after the Giants grabbed that third wildcard spot for those 2 hours. And just a really frustrating season. At the end of last year, Matt Chapman had said, we're going to go home. We're going to get better. We're going to make the playoffs next season if you guys bring the same energy, which the fans brought even better energy. Oracle's having one of their best years attendance-wise in a long time, and the Giants still could not make the playoffs. And you would think with Matt Chapman saying that they're going to go home, get better, and then you add Willy Adames, who is a top 10 shortstop in baseball, the second best free agent last offseason. You add Justin Verlander, who has ended up having a good year. You would think the Giants could make the playoffs and at least just sneak into that third wildcard spot. But they're unable to do so. Another mediocre season from the Giants that's going to look like it's under 500. Buster Posey would be crazy to let this coaching staff say the exact same heading into 2026. Personally, I think Bob Melvin is gone. Pat Burrell is 1,000% gone. It's just going to be up to Buster Posey to see how much he wants to turn things around, how much coaching staff changes he wants to happen, and then who he wants to bring in. The Giants need some help in the pitching rotation. They need some help on offense. It's going to be an interesting offseason. But thank you for watching SF Giants Digest. Make sure to go down below and leave a comment and let me know, what do you think the Giants record is going to be in 2026? Do you think it's another under 500 mediocre season? Do you think they finally take the step and make the playoffs, a couple of games over 500? Let me know down below what you think, and thank you for watching SF Giants Digest.